We all have a heritage as humans. On the physical level, it's written in our DNA. On the emotional level, our mammalian midbrain carries the imprint of emotional intelligence of our past Homo sapiens relatives. Cognitively, we have inherited thinking processes from our family and ancestral lines, and spiritually, we have ties to traditions, perhaps through countless incarnations. Now, do these built in connections determine the fate of our existence? I don't believe so. But they do influence us in often unconscious ways. Making them conscious can be a tremendous benefit in owning our storehouse of talents, strengths, and potentials unrecognized. When I was first assigned the task of researching my family history while studying to be a family therapist, I frankly was not excited about it. But as I progressed, with the help of seasoned mentors, I began to recognize patterns of development that made sense as to why I believed and acted in specific ways that I thought were just, well, natural to me. It also helped me take ownership of potentials that seemed out of reach in my present life. So, doing a career autobiography became a requirement in the third year, which was the final year in our School of Integrative Psychology, which I led for 33 years with some of the teachers of this course, because it was a pivotal piece in helping students determine steps in changing or advancing their life work paths. Now, like most endeavors, one gets out of it what one puts into it. Now, those who took the assignment to heart did not necessarily have to spend countless hours in ancestry research, but often with some intuitive family contacts, for example, they were able to come up with gems of information that were packed with surprising energies for understanding and growth. That's why I've inserted this element into our Living Your Purpose Advanced Career Apprenticeship. This exercise entails using two handouts. So the first handout is just a bare bones outline. And you don't have to necessarily use this handout, but it gives you an idea of going back and what kind of information you're going to get from your own individual and family work histories of your parents, siblings, grandparents, both paid and non-paid. So jobs don't necessarily have to be something you get money for. You may be a householder and you are giving your energy while others go out and earn an income. So this handout shows just a list of various folks that you get information on. Now, the biggest part of this list is your own life. Put down the jobs from the first time you had a Kool-Aid stand out in your parents' front yard, whatever it is, each job has a piece of the puzzle for you. And then, as best you can, you'll answer the question for each job as well as you can on handout 4, Career Heritage. So, in handout 4, Career Heritage, this is the information that you're going to get on each of those people that you listed on handout 3. So, handout 4, you're going to get, well, first of all, their name. Now, you say, well, that's obvious. No, sometimes names are passed on through generations, and you recognize, oh, I was named after my late Uncle Fred, who was so-and-so, ne'er-do-well on the Western frontier or whatever. It's interesting how people get their names. So the name, the job that they had. Now, when it's yours, talk about the age, how old you were when you got your first job as a magazine salesman. I was 14, okay? Then activities that job entailed, going from door to door, selling magazines, and what you learned and what use it is for you in your current life, work, and growth. At first glance, you may say, no, that was just to earn some money so I could go out on the weekend. Well, think about it. For example, my first job, they were trying to teach me about how to sell things effectively. And they gave me a pad of paper. I was supposed to be selling magazines. And they said, okay, you have the person looking at the list of magazines, and then you're making doodles around here and you're putting numbers on. And they said that the longer you could keep the person attending to what you're saying and what you were doing, the more likely they were to buy a magazine. I was like, okay. I'm not saying that's the key to sales success. Or someone once told me it's the ABC of sales. Always be closing. So it means you're always making a sale no matter what you do. Nah, not true. I believe it's the heart that you put into it. But that's my conclusion, not necessarily yours. So you're going to look at each job that you had in the ages and what it means to your current life and work and growth. That's the operative thing. What it means to your current life and growth. The level of satisfactions that the people had in their job, knowledge that they get. Okay, it's all right there on your handout. Now, the tricky part of this is in your cohort, that's a small group that you get together. Everyone is going to be presenting on one particular day their career autobiography. And you're going to condense it down to a 20-minute presentation. Some people might have trouble filling up 20 minutes. Other people have got reams of stuff. So when it's your turn, you're going to be giving a 20-minute presentation. And then the mentor of your group and the other group members will give you some feedback. And that feedback could come in the form of a dialogue, just talking about what you learned, or there may be even some role play. You haven't finished your relationship with that employer that shamed you and dismissed you in front of all of your colleagues. And there's something that needs to be completed there for you. Well, that's maybe something that you could do. Or people writing affirmations for you. Whatever creative play is inspired, excluding giving advice. That's not one thing that we're looking for here. We're not looking for giving unsolicited advice. Well, I think you ought to plastics. That's what you got to get into, like The Graduate, dating myself with movies. Okay,